It is the 2020 finale of Waking the Red Weekly presented by Footy Talks, and we are going out in style. You might wonder why we are so dressed up this week, and that is, of course, because we are celebrating the third annual WTR Awards. Throughout this week's show, we'll be looking back at the year that was for Toronto FC as we hand out awards for different categories, including Best Goal Scored, Most Underrated Toronto FC Player, Worst Play, plenty more. Special guests from Waking the Red staff will drop in throughout the show to present and debate awards. We're just straight up asking for StreamYard technical difficulties at this point, but you'll have plenty of chance to have your say as well in the comment section, and of course over at wakingthered.com, where awards voting polls are now officially live. Michael, Jeff, how we doing?
I'm great, Mitch. I think we should talk about it. Talk about what happened before the show there, Mitch, where you showing up 5 minutes before showtime, all dressed up, all ponyed up, and leaving Jeff and I to go scramble for some blazers. You got Jeff wearing a blazer over a Toronto FC 2017 kit, and you have me wearing a blazer over my night hoodie. But hey, man, it's WTR Awards. It's a big day, and we had to get dressed up for it. We couldn't just leave you hanging there.
Nope.
Of course. I love nothing more on this show than the chaos, so that's why I'll drop in every once in a while and surprise these guys with a thing or two. But yeah,
your bow tie's crooked.
Oh no, there we go. Other way. Screen mirroring.
But I agree, Michael.
Love that. All right, guys. As I said, we'll get to the awards, but first, I think we should just very quickly touch on the one bit of big news that we got in the Canadian soccer circles this week, and that is, of course, Canada Soccer training camp January 9th to 24th in Bradenton, Florida. No official matches at this time. I'd been told there'll be some training matches against another national team, but there's no confirmation on that yet. And as we know, in COVID times, everything's a very fluid situation. But what we do know is some pretty surprising names on that list. I think Marcelo Flores certainly surprised a lot of people, but the one obviously that is big here is Ayo Akinola. What were your thoughts when you saw the Canadian list come out and Ayo was there?
Yeah, first of all, Mitch, congrats to you for breaking that news. You were the first to have that scoop that Canada Soccer was going to be putting that camp together in January. So definitely congrats to you. But Ayo Akinola, that surprised me, because I think we might have talked about this a little bit, but we've looked at his social medias and it's been all United States, down to like the last emoji. I mean, I haven't seen a Canadian flag emoji on any of his socials. So, just for him to be named to this roster, obviously he accepted the invitation, and it's good on him. There's not many people who are in this situation. And I think he's just making the most of it. Why not take your time and make that decision? Obviously, with a big 2021 coming up, he's going to have to make that decision closer, soon. But I still think he's doing everything right on his end. And, he's marketing himself really well, too.
Of course, with no official matches, none of these players will be cap tied. But there is a chance Jeff and I will have to print a retraction note soon for a little rant we went on about Ayo that one show when you left us unsupervised there, Michael.
No, what did I do?
But I did want to mention some other exciting developments from this camp. Of course, 3 players apparently are now cap tied to the Canadian senior side. That's Theo Corbino of Wolves. Whether or not he's at camp remains to be seen. Again, I think the UK travel thing will be somewhat interesting in all of this, but in a more positive news, he's been getting some time on the bench with the Wolves senior team. So it looks like they'll need him right now. So potentially Canada won't get him. The other 2, Frank Sturing, who plays for Den Bosch in the 2nd division and Dutch Youth International. That they don't just hand out those caps unregularly. So that's an exciting player, certainly as a center back for Canada. And then Christian Gutierrez from the Vancouver Whitecaps. That's an exciting player as well. Just, getting minutes in MLS, and obviously with Chile's youth side. So a couple of dual internationals coming in for Canada, and that's big. Anytime you can grow the player pool, and especially given Canada's history with dual internationals, winning some of those is always a positive.
This isn't their best, roster that they invited here to the January camp, obviously, because of it's in the middle of the North American season or European season and the North American off season. But just looking at the roster, it's amazing how far Canada has come in just a couple of years. This is a team that I honestly believe can compete with, some of the best nations in the world. And, we never used to think that whenever we were matched up against a mid-tier side, I think it was automatically like a 7-0, 8-0 assumption that we were going to get blown out or something like that. But I think nowadays we're in almost every game, and I think we have a chance.
Yeah, I don't know if the 7 or 8 was the assumption, but the 0 definitely was the assumption.
Yeah, the 0.
We know Canada wasn't going to score. We just didn't know how many the other team was going to put in the back of the net. But yeah, I mean, even we've even with there's 11 players coming. Dane St. Clair, Tajon Buchanan, Alistair Johnson. These are all players that we would have been very excited about a couple of years ago, and they barely have gotten mentioned going into this camp because there's all those other names as well. So a very exciting young group for Canada. All these guys are under 23 as well. So Olympic potential as well, with Olympic qualifiers expected to come up in the next little bit. Also, more exciting news for Canada this week: a sweep in the Canadian Press Awards. Alphonso Davies winning Male Athlete of the Year, Christine Sinclair winning Female Athlete of the Year. So, exciting there. Obviously, the CP Awards are take it or leave it. Everyone lost their mind when Toronto FC didn't win 2017 CP Team of the Year. Instead, it was the U19 Canadian basketball team, I think. So, anyway, let's get to the more important awards, shall we? The Waking the Red Awards.
Let's go.
Very excited for these. We've got a ton of different categories, as we said. Let's start with the Danny Dichio Seat Cushion Award for Best Goal Scored.
Oh,
Jeff, you got the sting there. Do I just you didn't hand me my envelope? What am I supposed to know?
So for the Danny Dichio Seat Cushion Award for Best Goal Scored, we have a couple of honorable mentions, and we'll
Moonlight.
talk about them. It's Pablo Piatti's Wonder Strike against his first goal at BMO Field there against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Of course, not many people can forget that one. Ayo Akinola, his body and finish at the MLS's Back tournament. That was something else.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, but there's only one winner, guys.
Yeah, there's the consensus here at WTR, and of course, it was Richie Larea's magical run there against the Columbus Crew, and that was, we all talked about it at the time. That was one of the best goals I think we've seen in a while, and to see a team that doesn't have many players that have 1v1 capabilities, to see Richie Larea come out and take on 1v3, that got us out of our seats, and in such a massive game too. I think Columbus was one of the Supporter Shield leaders at the time, or close to it at least. That was something special for sure. Do you guys have any memories of that, or any other goal you want to shout out?
Everybody in my entire condo probably hated me because I was screaming, go Richie at the loudest. In the loudest, I was squealing. That was one hell of a goal.
Special.
It was super special. He clowned the entire Columbus defense on that one. It was just ridiculous. Not much to say. It's an easy favorite. That goal was ridiculous. Sure. It was absolutely insane. We got a minute before we're scheduled for our first WTR guest.
Yeah, let's do one more award before we bring in our friend Mark.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I see he's nodding along, so
I did want to say we don't have highlights for all this because of rights issues, but Jeff will be performing all of these interpretive dance. So, Jeff, whenever you're ready, show us the Richie goal.
Just give me 5 more jobs, Mitch, because I'm not violent enough. All right.
That's true. I don't know why I didn't put that on Michael, but let's do one more award. Let's go the Paul Mariner Best Finish of the Modern Era Award for Worst Goal Conceded.
Just one? You just have to pick one?
I guess so, yeah.
That's tough narrowing it down.
Honorable mentions. Wow, my shout was an honorable mention. Caden Clark, New York Red Bulls. That
You had a couple people agree with you there.
Well, because I'm right.
I don't know about that. I thought that was a fantastic goal that Caden Clark scored. Why did you vote for it to be the worst?
Well, because it started the nacho curse. That was the night that Martin, Charlie, and I went out to get nachos and ended up ruining everything for everyone for all time. So, yeah.
All right, that's personal sentiment right there. The goal itself, though, that was pretty breathtaking. I think Quentin Westberg, I remember just thinking back to it. He said, some goals you just have to appreciate going in, and that's coming from a keeper. So that was a hell of a strike from the kid. We have a couple other honorable mentions there, and I threw out Griffin Yao, who is another 17-year-old who scored against Toronto FC, and he played for DC United. And of course, that was when you had like 3 players going for the same ball, Quentin Westberg included, and then it bounces out to the top of the box, and Griffin Yao just tucks in a late equalizer for DC United, a lowly DC United team with a bunch of youngsters flooded out in the lineup. That was my choice for worst goal conceded. We also had Sergio Santos in the 5-0 annihilation. TFC injured. The 5th goal there was pretty wide open.
But the winner is?
Yeah, we got a winner, Mitch. Why don't you say this one?
Yeah, the winner, in terms of stature, in terms of everything that went with it, was the goal they conceded in the playoffs against Nashville. That was also a bit of a calamity of errors. All the players just seemed to stop running at that point. So, not a great goal, but I think a lot of good shouts. I mean, any goal Toronto FC conceded against DC this year, I feel like could have been considered, considering how they happened and just the game circumstances as well. I feel like any of those are good shouts.
Okay, I'm bringing Martin on.
All right.
There
we got our first guest. Oh no, he's in his car. We have bad.
No, I pulled over for sure. I pulled over for sure. I'm just in the Arby's drive-through, so I should.
No. Yes, Martin.
That's so.
I love that so much.
How you guys doing?
Well,
great, Martin.
Crappy now because I want Arby's, but Martin's gonna talk about what's your shout? We're gonna do number 12 for Martin. So just let me pull it up. Here we go, boys.
So yeah,
right.
This
best
is the
player.
Torsten Frings Award for best player playing in a natural position.
Yes.
I think last year's winner was Richie Larea. He was a center mid. Obviously went to fullback. Martin, talk to us. What was your shout here?
Well, I was cheeky on this one. I didn't go with the natural.
On this one, this guy says this guy's cheeky on the entire award.
But I said for this, the best player in an unnatural position was Alex Bono as a backup, because it may not be the position he's used to. I don't think it's the position he should stay in, but the kid got 270 minutes and tossed 3 shutouts this year. Didn't allow a goal the entire season. I've got all the love in the world for Q. I think Q should be our starter. I don't want to lose Alex, but at this point in his career, at this age, I think he did fantastic in that role, and I hope it's not a role he gets used to. I hope he finds minutes somewhere. It's a luxury to have someone like that coming off the bench if needed. But shout out to Alex for sure.
Hey, would you want him in an Eastern Conference team so that they can ruin us a bunch of times over the regular season, or a Western Conference team that we won't see until he ruins us in MLS Cup?
Yeah, I would. I mean,
only 2 options, really.
God bless him, but I would hope for a bit more of a Joe Bendick curve as opposed to a Stephen Fry curve.
Alex Bono is an ongoing debate here. I mean, we have this discussion all the time with the salary cap hit that he carries, of course. He talked about this a little bit this year, but he went on kind of it wasn't a loan, it was just a training stint.
Yeah, he went out to train, yeah.
Was it Burnley? Where's it that he was at?
Whichever team Neil Warnock manages, that's the one he went to.
Definitely not. What'd you think, Mitch?
I thought it was a championship team, not Burnley. It's probably like Arsenal.
Hey! My God, you guys! Holy! Why don't you just throw Arby's at me and burn all of my Arsenal?
Yeah, Bono came back after, and he was very appreciative about his time with Toronto FC, and just based on how he gets treated, just based on the club, and just based on everything in between that, Alex Bono again was very appreciative of his time and thankful to be back in Toronto. So who knows what the right move for him is? Like, does management think that they need to move on from that cap to improve the team elsewhere? Do they think he's the goalie of the future because he is just 26 years old and Quinton Westford's like 34 now?
Yeah,
It's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout.
So it's interesting debate, Martin, and I think you make a really good point. He's a 2017 MLS Cup champion. He set multiple Toronto FC records, and he's only 26 years old.
You know who else is a 2017 MLS Cup champion? Armando Cooper.
Shout out.
All right. So we got honorable mentions based on the poll, and they were Oro at left back, which was my shout. Richie Larea, who's forever nominated in this award as long as he wears a red kit. Pablo at right winger, and Alex as backup goalkeeper. But the winner, Mitch,
is Jonathan Osorio for his job basically anywhere in the midfield, but his job covering for Michael Bradley during that short time he did. I think that's a good shout. I had Richie, but I think Oso's, in terms of his importance to the team, very good.
Yeah, I mean he changed. I mean, Rourke can't also play at this point. He can play on the wing. He can play as a number 10. He can play as number 8. But this year he obviously had to change around and play as that Michael Bradley number 6 kind of holding midfielder role. And he did fantastic when Michael Bradley was out, and it's like they never skipped a beat. So I mean, shout out to Ozo for the job that he did this year.
And was it shortly before that or shortly after that he missed a few games? And I mean, the team really felt. I think it was after that. Right?
It was after that.
After that run.
Yeah.
He also missed a couple before that too.
Yeah, and the team really felt that loss in the creativity moving forward over the midfield, right?
Oh, huge. Do we want to talk about the Stephen Fry Award, or do we want to let Martin go because he's busy?
Yeah, I think we're a little bit hard pressed on time here, but I appreciate you joining us, Martin.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, we have a little more we got to get to, but
enjoy your Arby's, Martin.
I'll be watching the rest of the show. Nice tie, Mitch.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Arby's not an official sponsor yet, but yeah, as we said, let's keep this moving here because we have a lot of awards still to get to. Let's do the get Defoe out of here worst play of the year.
All right, let me find it.
This one I don't think is going to surprise anyone.
All right.
So get the Defoe out of here. The worst play of the year.
There's not even an honorable mention.
No.
Honorable mention?
None.
Do you have any guesses as to which play it would be? I think everyone at WTR knows what it is, and that won't.
I think everyone on planet Earth knows what it is. But let's just, any first person to comment. Which one is it? Come on, viewers, get your fingers a tapping.
Also, for those listening to this afterwards, we'll give you a little second.
George is writing a paragraph right now.
Yeah, I know exactly. We're gonna run out of time, guys. Just say it all at once, or decide.
All right. So the worst play of the year goes to Alejandro Pozuelo and Pablo Piatti for their penalty routine. Let's call it. Obviously, down 1-0 against Montreal at home. Had a chance to tie the game, go level right before halftime. They get awarded a penalty. Alejandro Pozuelo steps up to the spot. And, he doesn't score. Let's put it that way. What happened there, Jeff? What was your memories of that play?
Gah. What was my memories of that play? When I thought it went in for the amount of time that Pozzatti thought it went in, I was like, highlight reel, here we come. Every goddamn MLS social post for the next month and a half is going to be this. And then I saw the look on their faces and I was like, oh man. For the same reason, now it's going to be on every MLS socials for the next month and a half. So, that's what I thought about it.
How about you, Mitch? What's going through?
Yeah, I mean,
stepped up for that.
I pretty similar. Like when they first did it, I was like, "Oh, that's so cheeky. I love that so much." And then you realize that it didn't come off. And that's again, any play like that. That's the risk you take, right? Is if it comes off, you're a hero. If it doesn't, it's the same with if any of Paz's Panenkas, especially the one in the playoffs, get caught by the keeper, then like we're having the same discussion about that we're having about this. But he's so good at them that they've all come off for him. But yeah, again, this could have cost them the Voyageurs Cup final, like a spot in the Voyageurs Cup final. So as funny as it is now, it was a pretty boneheaded play at the time.
Yeah,
so boneheaded. So boneheaded.
Point, though, Mitch, if they pull that off, we could be talking about that for play of the year.
Yeah,
right?
for
it's
sure.
That polarizing, right? So especially with the Pozuelo Piatti connection that we're all talking about beforehand, and their connection off the field that TFC fans were loving, on the field that they were loving, and they come out with that penalty routine that was so perfect. And if it just went in, like the narrative would have just shot through the roof of that Pozuelo Piatti.
Yeah, but, I mean they deserved all the bans because that was so overconfident.
They knew what they're trying, and they know the risk that they're assuming. When it doesn't go pay off,
we're about 6 minutes late on Brady, and I can see him grayed out over here, and he's looking pissed. So I'm gonna bring him in.
All right.
There he is. We don't want to piss Brady off.
Well, Brady's on Newfoundland time, so
yeah, that's true.
He's 30 minutes ahead. Hour and a half, I guess.
Let's try and wipe that glare off Brady's face right now. So.
All right. So I got Brady. He's going to be talking about the Tom Anselmi Best Front Office Achievement Award. So let me.
Okay. Before we start, Jeff, talk to me about this name. The Tom Anselmi.
Oh, please! I gotta make sure I'm getting one of those Arsenal jumpers. They're back in stock, so just ignore me for about 2 seconds.
Jeff's over here on Amazon. Are you wondering who Tom Anselmi is?
No, I know. I just want to know the meaning behind this award. So, Jeff, for
he ushered in the new phase of TFC. He brought, he was one of the first guys that took the team seriously, as opposed to took them as a real estate company. So I think credit where credit is due.
Wasn't he also the president of the Ottawa Senators, though?
Yeah, I mean, you could call him. You could call him.
Did all that good work.
To be fair, he was the predecessor for Tim Lewicki, and I think we should start a little. A little nomination here to rename that award to the Tim Lewicki Award.
No, absolutely. I apologize. I've wanted that tracky top for 100 years. So,
Jeff, make another sting here. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get to Brady here, though. Let's do some honorable mentions quickly. Brass Bonanza, playing the entire season without a positive COVID case, obviously. Michael Bradley down to a TAM contract. What they did with BMO Field in terms of distributing food and playing time for young players. There's a bunch of shouts, but Brady, what's the winner?
I'm assuming it's mine.
It's actually not the winner. But,
okay.
What was yours, Brady? Talk.
No, yeah. So it kind of works pretty well based on what we were talking about last week, and a lot of you guys had great shouts just with regards to stuff they did off the field and kind of away from soccer. But for me, like with everything going on, to still prioritize the young guys and make sure they're getting minutes, be it with the senior team in the USL and the CPL overseas, like I thought that was pretty important. And like, a lot of those guys, like we kind of touched on last week, are at a point in their career that's just like so important for development that you spend a year on the shelf and all of a sudden, like things can kind of take a turn for the worse. And so I thought that was huge. I mean, all the other shouts were huge. I just kind of tried to go a little hipster on this one, to be fair. Yeah.
No, it was a great show, Brady, and especially with Toronto FC2, obviously playing out of competition this year, it was important for TFC to find a way to get their youngsters playing time. Yeah, and especially with this youth movement that we all believe is coming, it's even makes it even that much more pivotal. So definitely a great show by you.
I would add that, considering what the state of the transfer market is right now, and considering that even big monster clubs now have to say goodbye to some players because they need to free up some finances, that loaning out also achieved something in that it opened up potential relationships both ways with some of these clubs. We're on their radar for not only the talent pipeline going to them as a loanee, but in terms of maybe getting some players onto the first team or the second team ourselves. So it was just shrewd business all around. So I absolutely agree with your shout. Although my shout was Brass Bonanza, and it should win, and it didn't.
Well, let's go for the winner here. Well, we had a bit of a La La Land Moonlight situation there. That's my bad, but the winner was finding a home away from home in Hartford, Connecticut, which I think encompasses multiple of the other things under the same roof at the rent.
For sure.
Yeah. I still say Brass Bonanza. Sorry.
That's sort of part of it.
They found something that was really close to, BMO Field. And, we look at what the Blue Jays and how much, they struggled to find their home away from home. And, they got kicked out of Pennsylvania when they thought they secured a deal, and they ended up having to play in Buffalo. TFC from the get-go, they're ahead of the curve here. And they found a place what no other Canadian club did, their own place. Other Canadian clubs shared, their other home stands with other MLS clubs. And they found a place where other people were comfortable, and the team was comfortable. Greg Vanney himself said he would recommend it to the Toronto Raptors if they needed a place to stay. It was Hartford, Connecticut, because of just how good of a fit it was. So I think it's fitting to give the TSC front office the award for finding the rent.
All right, we should probably let Brady go here, because I think we'll have our next
Matthew in the wings. Yep, exactly.
Thank you so much
Cheers,
for coming on, Brady.
Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Brady.
All right, let's bring on Matt. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
All right. Matthew is going to be doing the Hey Mista Mista Award for Newcomer of the Year. So let's qualify that.
All right, so you guys know Brady, you guys know Martin, but a lot of people here, they're not going to know who this guy is.
No.
Matthew Wilson. He is the brains behind our social. A lot of our game day social is run by Matthew Wilson, and he's just as involved as everyone else. So it's great to see that you took some time here to put yourself in the spotlight as opposed to being behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, I usually like to hang out behind, but I think I have to defend some of my choices, so I figured I'd come on today.
Oh, we got a couple here. We need you to defend, Wilson. Let me get to it. So I think what we want you to defend was your Hey Mista Mista Award for Newcomer of the Year there, right? Let's just double check that.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So you're Newcomer of the Award there. Jeff, do you want to play that sting there?
I already did.
You already did, yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that. My bad.
So I went with Achara, and this was a similar throwback to. So my one claim to fame in the Waking the Reds voting is that last year I put Ayo Akinola as my favorite player pre MLS's back tournament, and that worked out well. So I'm hoping I have a similar view on Achara. I think they both make just incredible runs in behind, and I think Achara was really unlucky to get injured, and we're seeing some really promising stuff out of him before he went down with injury. So I think he was the best newcomer, and hopefully when he comes back healthy next year, he'll be good again.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great shout. I mean, we're the only one who chose Achara, so I always like it when we have some of these stories where some people could be forgotten. And last year it was Ayo Akinola that you remembered, and this year I think Achara is sort of that story heading into next season. I think he's perhaps the young gun that's the most loaded and ready to go, and he gave us a little bit of a tease earlier this year. So we had some other honorable mentions, or I guess mention, and the other one was Ralph Priso. And he was fantastic at the end of the year, and the job that he did as an 18-year-old central midfielder in MLS, competing with the likes of Marky Delgado, Jonathan Osorio, Michael Bradley, Liam Frazier. It was Ralph Priso who emerged there as one of their steady go-to central midfielders. But the winner of the Hey Mista Mista Award for Newcomer of the Year, it's got to be. This is only one option. It's Pablo Piatti, of course. And Mitch, you had a really good article about this. And what did you think of Pablo this season?
It's kind of mixed. As I said, I I don't think he was necessarily worth the designated player tag just because of what we've seen from Toronto FC's DPs in recent years. But with that being said, the way he was able to fit in a pandemic season and all the different things he brought off the ball in terms of his compete rate, how well he worked with Toronto FC's most important player in Alejandro Pozuelo. I think, if they are able to bring him back, and we'll see there, obviously it doesn't look great at this moment, but I think that would be a nice add for Toronto FC. I think he did a lot of things right. Again, you just have to hold your designated players to an incredibly high standard if you want to be, among MLS's elite.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, based on the new players that we listed out, he definitely had the greatest impact. And I gave an honorable shout to the class of 2020. And I think it's something, it's a phrase that we're going to be using moving forward because the kids that came through this year, the newcomers that came through this year, I think they're going to be kids we're going to be talking about the next 3, 4, 5 years. So honorable mention to the class of 2020 as well. But Matthew, thanks for taking the time, buddy. We always appreciate you, putting yourself on the front line here with all of our hard workers over here. But we do appreciate all the work you put in behind the scenes. And I think WTR fans and viewers should know that too. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very unprofessional.
All right, Jeff, we need to throw your phone out the window. Let's go.
Yeah, what is that?
Let's go.
Yeah, Matthew, our Jaquil Marshall-Rudy made like 6 5-minute appearance this season, but a very important part of their team and very big for the future of WTR. So awesome to have him on, make his debut there.
I'll just have you know, my order is confirmed. That track market is mine. Anyway. I just hope I sent it to the right place because
let's move on now to the what is next year? The DeRo's John Hancock Award for Best Goal Celebration.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shout out to DeRo. And especially, we talked about the shake and bake earlier this year, so that name's definitely fitting there. Yeah, Mitch,
right.
go ahead and.
Yeah, we had one honorable mention, which is Piatti's celebration after scoring his first goal. I think he going to the sidelines, appreciating the team. Sorry, go ahead.
Physio.
Yeah, physio. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, Cello. Yeah. Appreciating all the work he did to get him back. Yeah, exactly.
You know his name, don't you?
Yeah, I learned it after that. I actually asked Piatti the question about it after because I saw this. I'm like, it's really interesting that a guy from Spain would just go run straight to the sidelines as soon as he scored his first goal and start celebrating with his teammates. So I just was curious about that. And he brought up Cello and the fact that he was always supportive to Pablo, saying he was going to score his first goal. He's very close to all of the Spanish and Latin players at the club. So it's great to see someone behind the scenes get some spotlight there. And
absolutely.
But of course, there was only one right answer here.
Yeah, I feel like again, as much as we love DeRo, this might have to eventually turn to the Josie Altidore Award, just because of all of his celebrations in a Toronto FC shirt, the shoe phone, all those different ones. But this year is hushing the crowd, saying "quiet now" to the 200 fans in Montreal. I mean, just another add to the derby that is, and obviously we have the T-shirt that are out there.
Exactly.
We made a T-shirt after.
We made a T-shirt about it. There's only one winner. There's only one winner. I mean, that's as easy as pie. There's not a lot that are going to compete with that. I said the Pozzati special for the Bants, but that wasn't really a goal celebration as much as it was just fun watching. It was very entertaining.
Great content there. Great content there too.
What like both of them went from hero to zero
moment,
in like
that moment where their faces changed from
just
excited
raw.
to like what?
Yeah,
it was so funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
All
right.
Yeah,
do we have a scene here? Oh, we do.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No. Let's bring him on now.
Okay.
Cool.
What's going on, guys?
Good.
How's it going, Asim?
Good. How are you?
Nice. We match, buddy. We match.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys coordinate that or what? Come
Yeah.
on.
I think probably,
Great.
yeah.
Great minds think alike. It's all good.
Exactly. That's what I'll take. I'll take that. He's going to do the Victor Vazquez Flamenco Dancer Award for best play.
All right, best play of the 2020 Toronto FC season. Asim, what was your shout for that play?
It didn't involve Toronto FC actually playing, but Rudy Camacho getting sent off. It paved the way for TFC to just go on through the Voyageurs Cup after it looked like TFC kind of blew it, but it had to be the play of the year. It kept us in that competition.
That's straight, man. I love it.
It's savage, but I mean, he's right. He's absolutely right. Rudy Camacho is like the best player we signed this year.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So wait, what play specifically was it from Rudy Camacho though? Because I can think of like 3 or 4 off the top of my head that helped you.
It's the inexplicably punching Freddie Montero in the knee, I think it was.
Yeah.
Why? But thank you.
Yeah.
Rudy Camacho, one of our own. Another one that I was thinking of was on that Josie Altidore goal. He actually Montreal had a free kick and he passed the ball straight to Nick DeLeon, who sent the ball. That took a touch and sent it right over the top to Josie Altidore to score the quiet now goal. So that was another one. He also scored an own goal. Against Vancouver in one of those crucial games too. So the list goes on and on for Rudy Camacho.
He's so amazing. I love him so much.
We hold him so dear to our heart.
Absolutely.
Pay him whatever he wants to play for anyone else.
Yeah. If Montreal releases him, can we just write them and be like, listen, we'll pay his salary. Keep him, and start him all the time. Yeah.
It would be a serious investment though.
Our academy is Rudy Camacho playing for another team. Yeah,
exactly.
What else? We got the IO hat trick. Yeah, that was an honorable mention.
The IO hat trick. That was probably the most popular one. I actually didn't write down a winner for this award.
I saw.
It's so close. But another one I really want to talk about was, and this kind of maybe gets forgotten about a little bit, was. I think it was against Columbus. It might have been Philadelphia, but I think it was against Columbus where Chris Mavinga conceded a first half penalty or a first half own goal, actually. And TFC went down. And then into halftime, Alejandro Pozuelo goes to him. He tells him, hey, you've been really good for us this season. Don't worry, I got you. Yeah. I'm going to go score a goal. I'm going to go get an assist, and we're going to win this game. And lo and behold, second half, he comes out, Pozuelo does those exact things, and we got to learn that story because Chris Mavinga tweeted about it after the game. So I think that was just one of the coolest stories I've, heard from, just being on the beat here, because you don't hear that stuff too often. You don't hear about those cool little locker room interactions that make, the team so close, and I think that exemplified Pozuelo's leadership skills.
That's a very good shout. It's a very good shout. I mean, it's Chris Mavinga, so I'm not sure how truthful it is. It might be embellished just slightly. I mean, but I'm sure Paws talked to him. I just don't know if he pulled a Babe Ruth and said, I'm going to hit it out in those stands for you, kid. But we'll see.
Yeah. No, anything that Chris Mavinga puts on social, we definitely have to, walk around with.
You got to sleep on it. You definitely got to sleep on it. That's for sure.
You never know. You never know.
There's not a Drake song about Alejandro Pozuelo scoring a goal and assisting.
No, not yet. I don't think.
That's so funny. Anyways, Ashim, thank you again for taking the time, man. We appreciate all the work that you've done here for us. He's really good for our previews this year. A lot of
absolutely, so much good writing. Thank you so much, Ashim.
No problem. Looking forward to your too. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Right, cheers.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, we got Benny here yet?
Yeah, Benny's here.
Awesome.
You wanna bring Benny on?
Let's go Benny on. Yeah.
All right. There's Ben.
Hey.
Trap money, Benny. What's going on?
Ben is handling the Meadowlands Massacre Award for worst game. So let's cue that up.
All right, Benny. I think you're the only one who didn't say the same answer here, so this is why I wanted to ask. What was your worst game this year and why?
Excuse me. Yeah. One second, let's pull this off. Hold on.
Yeah, what did I vote?
I'll tell you what it is, actually.
Yeah.
It was MLS's back tournament.
Yeah.
Round of 16. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, New York City FC. What a game.
What a game. What a game. Talk to us. Why was that your pick for worst game of the TFC's year?
Yeah. Toronto FC's had a lot of success against New York City FC in the past, and I think excuse me, a lot of people thought maybe they'll do it again in the MLS's back tournament, and also a lot of uncertainty about when they might come back and play more games after that tournament. I think they wanted to win that game. There's a Champions League spot on the line for the winner of that tournament as well. A lot of stuff riding on that game, and they just didn't put in the performance they would have wanted to put in.
That was the game where Greg Vanny decided to give Jaden Nelson his first career appearance.
Yep.
First career start.
Start. Official start.
Yep.
Against New York City FC in the round of 16.
in a knockout game. Wasn't it also at 9 in the morning? Wasn't it also at 9 in the morning, guy?
Think
I want it to be. I want it to be, but I don't know if it was.
The 2 round robins were. I doubt they put a round of 16 at 9 a.m. But then again, it's 20.
Yeah,
you never know what the schedule was.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Benny, that's a good shout. Great shout there, actually.
It's a great shout. I mean, it was the first lull in the season, right? Like we were,
and it was. And looking back, it's one of the biggest lulls in the season. I mean, when that New York City FC game, who knows? Maybe we have our spot in the Champions League already booked, and we don't have to play that Forge game.
Yeah, and it was the first time we started asking questions about the team's commitment, right? Like, did they throw the game? Were they sick of being in Orlando? Et cetera, and that kind of started a trend that persisted throughout the regular season, and we revisited again at the conclusion of the obvious winner of this award, which isn't that game, as bad as it was. What was the winner of the Meadowlands Massacre Worst Game of the Year award? Because there can be only one.
I'll give everybody one guess. Of course, it's the 5-0 annihilation at the hands of the Philadelphia Union. A big second place for his first place game. TFC's on a roll heading into that game, and you couldn't have had a more disappointing effort than they did. I think from that point on, TFC were kind of in sort of turmoil because they lost their identity after that because they were shaken. They were trying to find a way back to where they were, and because they beat Philadelphia. What's really disappointing is they beat Philadelphia like a month or not even a month, less than a month early.
Less than a month, yeah.
And they had it was the supporter shield debacle right before that too, where everyone's talking about
I don't remember that at all. What are you talking about?
Everyone's talking about the shield. PFC's talking about the shield, and then you go out and lay that egg against Philadelphia. That has to be the worst game of the year. 5-0. I think this.
Yeah, I mean it sucked. They went back home for that week where they couldn't train for the second time, and it obviously had an effect. We had been treated. We talked about this endlessly, but remember those 2 comeback games versus Columbus and Philly, right? Those 2 games where we put in amazing second halves after like pretty underwhelming first halves and came up with dubs. And then, Philly within what was it? Within like the first 20 minutes of that 5-0 game, it was over. It was over. Yeah. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, like there was no, we couldn't even rest on our laurels of the second half comeback because we were done. We were cooked by the end of that first half. Thoughts on that, Ben?
The fans made a difference too.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah, that game was just miserable from start to finish. Like, it was just, as soon as the first one went in, you're like, okay, it's just one goal. And the second one in, the third one went in.
Yeah,
it just kept going.
I know.
It was a bad night at the office, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a horrible night. I mean, Alicia left. She's like, I can't watch this anymore. And then she, every time I was like, she's like, they scored again, didn't they? I was like, yep. And it's your fault for leaving. But
The one lone positive, of course, from that game is that Ralph Priso and Jaquil Marshall-Ruti both made their debuts. So we might look back at that game as the start of something. Again, the class of 2020, as Michael puts it, the start of that. But I don't think that's like the smallest of silver linings in a night of
That's
otherwise.
all they can talk about after
Yeah,
they wore shirts. It can't be all bad. Oh my goodness, it was terrible. It was such a bad game. My goodness.
MLS debut when they lost 5-0 too. It's just it's just never great for the kids. I mean, at least they got run out at least. But.
And at least they came on when it was already 5-0 and they weren't like there the whole time for the 5-0. Like that's a little bit less demoralizing. But that too.
And there was no Agarakeche, so that's always that's like at least 8% better just by
here comes Charlie. Anyway, Benny, we should we'll let you go here. We have a couple of other awards to get to, but thanks so much for coming on again.
We'll see you soon, Ben.
Thanks, Benny.
All right, I have completely lost my place, so you got to tell me what awards we're missing, and then I'll run them.
That's all right. We got a few more awards to get to here before we wrap up. Let's go the Maxi Urruti Award for most underrated TFC player.
So nice. I'll play it twice.
Yeah. Again, we're talking about award renamings, Jeff. I hope you're taking some notes on this. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm the one that suggested it. I suggested that we better rename this the Marky Delgado Award.
Yeah, which I think is fair. I think that's an obvious choice for this because well, fill us in. Why did you pick Marky?
I always pick Marky. I've never not picked Marky 3 years running. This is my winner because he's so important to the team in a really sophisticated way. And I don't want to be partisan or be the guy in the record store that's like my soccer IQ is better, blah blah blah. But it's what he does is so important. And because he's not a goal threat and because he doesn't make, astounding defensive plays, he's a glue guy. He's the middle flipper. And I think that's the definition of underrated. The team doesn't work without him. It's like he's an essential piece of the puzzle. And he does his work very, very quietly. And I think he's underrated because people still have it in for him for a certain missed sitter. About are you buying Arsenal track jackets now, Mitch? Is that what's happening down there? Because
maybe
they may be out of stock. I swooped in there, but
no, great points, Jeff. And I think we saw how much TFC missed Marky Delgado towards the latter half of last season because I think he missed probably the last 5-6 games, including the playoff game. And the biggest thing I think we talked about a little bit on the show was his ability to pass through lines and pass forward. I think he led MLS when he went down by a large margin. Into the final third, which is a very, very underappreciated stat just because TFC, they're a possession-based side, but I found towards the end of the year they got complacent where they would just reset, pass back, and let the other teams press, reset again. But with Marky Delgado, he beat you. If you cheated on him, he'll pass it right by you and move forward, and TFC were gone from there at that point. Yep. So I think that part's really important about Marky Delgado's game. Sometimes gets overlooked, his ability to pass the ball.
And his engine, he's so fit. It's unbelievable. And the fact that, we've been he's been 24 forever. I don't think he's ever going to turn 25.
25. Mitch, what was your shout for this award?
Unsurprisingly, I said Liam Fraser just because I don't think he got enough of an opportunity this year to show how good he is. Again, for a lot of similar reasons as Marky. This is a player who was up there in terms of ball advancement for Toronto FC. Really good defensively. He, in terms of players dribbling past him, I think only Omar Gonzalez was better at defending against dribbling, which again, considering how Toronto FC conceded a lot of its goals this season on the counterattack and that sort, I think he showed pretty important stuff there. And I think this is just a player that I really hope gets more of a chance in 2021 with Toronto FC because all of the talent's there. At some point, I want to see that all-Canadian midfield with Oso and Ralph Priso. I feel like they would complement each other so well, and that'd be fun to watch. But we'll see. Maybe against Forge.
Yeah.
So you just kicked the most underrated player off the team. I like it.
Of course, he's the most underrated player.
20 minutes talking about how great he is, and you're like, you know what I'd like to see? Him take a seat. So yeah, amazing. That brought us right around.
Leopold's a good shout. He only had like over 400 minutes played last year. We talked about last show, and I think 2021 under a new coach, he could be poised for a massive season. And he isn't what he showed last year. I mean, it was one of the more disappointing years of his career, but you're right, Mitch. The future could be very bright for him, and I think he does get a little bit of a bad rep after this 2020 campaign he got.
As long as he's not replacing my Markey in the midfield, I am fine. But don't make me choose.
I think I don't want to get into it too much, but I think he's a like for Michael Bradley. I don't think there's another option right now, based on the way that TFC wanted to play. But anyways, let's move on.
Yeah. Well, no, before we move on, we had Jaquil Marshall-Rudy was also an honorable mention.
Yeah.
And Alex Bono. I think it was Brady that called, or was it Matthew who lit a fire for Jacob Schaffelgard?
I think it was Brady. I think it's just because it's a Maritimer, though. Brady wanted to.
Oh, yeah, that's right, of course.
Although I guess Brady's technically not a Maritimer. I don't think Newfoundland's part of the Maritimes if we want to get technical with this. But at any rate.
It's not part of the Maritimes?
I don't think so. Anyway, we'll move on before we get into a very random debate that has nothing to do with anything we're doing. Let's go
Geography hour. Let me just make a sting really quickly. It'll be
exactly. Let's go to the All For Me award for the most overrated TFC player.
I gotcha.
Michael and I are quickly muting ourselves, so in case we have to talk to any of these players at any point. But
do we even have? Did Michael even put this down on the?
I put one down. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Michael, defend your shout, because I think a lot of us took the easy. It's pretty easy road out and taking Erickson Gallardo, because I mean. I don't know how you can really overrate a guy who at this point we don't even know where he's rated at all, or if he's rated. But you had you had the one that certainly caught my eye during that thing.
Is it because it was right?
Maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, most overrated Toronto FC player after this season, 2020, in my opinion, is Josie Altidore. He gets paid in a tremendous amount. He scored 2 goals last season in 15 appearances. For someone who is a designated player, for someone who's expected to score a prolific amount of goals for this club, he just didn't do the job for me in 2020 and 2021. I mean, who's to guarantee that Josie gets back to that 2017 form of himself where he was moving left, right, and center? And I think the biggest problem for me right now is his movement. And as long as he carries around this designated player tag, as long as he, he's one of the greatest, or the greatest Toronto FC striker to ever play for this club. So I don't want to.
That's inarguable. You're right.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to, get out of the line here, but. Moving forward, if he's a designated player on this team, he's banging in 2 goals a game. You're overrated. If TFC need more goals, and you're supposed to be the striker who's scoring goals. It's just there's a lot that doesn't add up there. And
I mean, look at Columbus heading into the new season. They've got Zardes as their top, their starting number 9, and who's his backup now? Bradley Wright Phillips. I mean, the league is definitely I think the last major holdout for having a proper number 9 was SKC. Their fan base was screaming for it for decades, and then they finally went out and got one. And some teams now have 2 quality players. Would I trade Josmer for Bradley Wright Phillips right now? In a heartbeat. And I hate saying that. I hate saying that. Yeah, that's right. They're not even paying BWP DP money, and he's going to bang in 10, 12 goals this year because he always does.
Again, it's the same discussion as with Piatti. You have to the way that this league works, you have to hold your designated players to a higher standard than
You're right.
the rest of the roster, and it's the same thing. They needed more goals from their DPs this year, and one of them put up those goals, and two of them didn't. So that's the discussion we're having right now.
Piatti had more goals than Josie.
Yeah, for sure. And way more goal involvements.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I were to pick a designated player next season, I'd probably rather have Pablo Piatti on my squad than Josie Altidore, honestly.
That depends. I mean, Io's injury history is worrying. I mean, he's Josie-like in a great many ways. So once again but we've got a Chara and he also needs to be a proof of concept. I just find it funny that being a DP in MLS is like being a coach in a Champions League European team. Like, you're always on the hot seat unless you're just banging them in or invaluable to your team or winning MVP awards. You may not last a year in this league as a DP now, which is pretty fantastic when you think about it, right? Like, there's the stagnation aspect of this wonderful wacky league of ours is getting lesser and lesser and lesser all the time.
And I think, honestly, if TFC could move on from that contract, they probably would, with just having as little ramifications as possible. There's a lot you got to consider. I mean, he is a club legend.
The cultural aspect, I think, is something to consider.
It's massive, right?
Yeah.
But just specifically talking about on the field, what Josie Altidore brings for his price tag, I think you got to say he's overrated. Some other honorable mentions, though. Go ahead, Jeff, before we do that.
What do you think it does to recruitment overall if we buy out a $6.5 million contract? I'm just throwing that out there. What is that?
I don't think it does much. I think, if anything, it probably signals something good because they're giving younger players more opportunity.
Okay, so if I'm a big player and I'm going to be Josie's replacement, again, this is totally hypothetical and I'm making this up as I go, so correct me if I'm wrong. But as a player, would you be cool with knowing that you're signing to a club that when you've outlived your usefulness, they have no problem dropping millions of dollars to get you off the roster?
Well, that's how soccer works.
You're getting that money, and you're getting double it then whenever you sign that new contract, right? So, I mean, I don't really feel bad for Josie Altidore if he gets bought out by TFC, because they're going to give him $9 million. And then you're like, okay, go.
Can I get bought out by TFC?
Go sign a new contract somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think any player would take that personally. I don't think it would affect recruitment.
Thanks for listening to my TED Talk, because I mean, it was a question.
All right. It's fair question.
Sure. Cool. We have two more awards to get to, so let's rattle them off here.
Okay.
The Downsview to Downtown Award for Best Canadian Player.
Here it comes, boys.
This one's definitely interesting because some Canadian players had some pretty good seasons this year. Let's go through the honorable mentions first, because they're interesting. I mean, you've got Richie Larea there, who, again, I feel tough not giving him this award because of the fantastic season he had. Io Akinola, again, I think people are trying to get him on the national team.
Wait, what is he doing in Best Canadian? I just noticed that.
And then Dr. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. How did he get there? But yeah, I think we'll boil this down to Richie versus our winner Oso. And I think we'll just say nice things about both of them, because I think that's kind of fair.
Jonathan Osorio, obviously we talked about a little bit, but just his ability to adapt and step up and grow as a leader off the field as well as on it too. Like, this game, at a certain point, the game started to move through him, like it did with Michael Bradley, where he would come in and he'd collect possession. So I think that shows his maturity. He's the type of player that TFC don't have. And when Jeff said this earlier, when he went out, TFC missed him, and they missed that control in the midfield, and missed that touch, that swagger that he carries around. And I think all of it was captivated perfectly when Greg Vanney gave him the captain's armband. And we heard some people talk about him afterwards, and Michael Bradley namely, and saying, he's a Toronto boy and no one knows what this means better than Ozo. And it just, the amount that he's grown in every regard in 2020, I think Jonathan Osorio is a fair show for the Canadian Player of the Year. With that being said, it's tough, as Mitch said, like to not give this award to Richie Laryea because of this season that he had. I mean, he was nominated for MLS Defender of the Year as a fullback. He played left back, left wing, right mid, like name it. Richie Laryea probably found himself there this season, and he performed outstanding at each different position. He's one of the few players TFC have that can take people on 1v1 or very good at it. He's different. And the 2020 that he had, he grew so much even after the 2019 that he had, which we thought would be tough because he was so good in 2019, but he took that even further step forward. So both of those guys are great shouts, but yeah, I agree. We have to side here a little bit with Ozo just because
it's his year. Yeah,
it's I'll say that it's his year, and I think the center of the park there in TFC was really important to
really important. I mean, we thought Liam was going to step into Bradley's role, and it turned out that it was Oso that did. And I mean, the utility year over year, the evolution year over year, the comfort year over year. He's always adding to his skill set. He's always impressing. It's unbelievable, but the man just can't put a foot out of place these days. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, great 2020 for Ozan. Hopefully he builds on that next season. I know we have one more award to get to, but I want to start a new award, boys.
All right.
I like it. Yeah.
I think we should start giving out a Young Player of the Year award.
All right.
And I think to qualify for this, just strictly under 22, you have to be on the first team, and you've had to obviously have played some games. So with those three conditions in mind, who would you guys have as your Young Player of the Year in 2020?
It's a pretty easy one. I'd say it's Ayo Akinola. Yeah. I mean, I think Ayo hasn't probably gotten enough love today in terms of what he did this past season. This is one of the most exciting players on Toronto FC in terms of his ability to get in behind, to beat players. The smart runs he makes. Again, that was something, that was the biggest thing that was missing when Ayo Akinola wasn't on the field, was even if he's not the one getting the ball after his runs, he makes those runs that just open it up for teammates. So
100%.
Seeing a confident Ayo Akinola this year was incredible, and I'm so excited to see what he does next year because again, this is a player that could be in Europe in 2 to 3 years.
Well, what did you say about the play that was up for, I think it was a runner-up for best goal, where he was just so smart to play that 50-50 battle and hope that he's not going to get the foul because the refs are on his side because of how big and powerful he is and the way they're willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I think there was another one against New England as well, where it was the same thing, right? Like everyone knows that he can win the physical battles. So like even when he's potentially fouling the defender, the fact that he already plays that way and he already has the body of hard work is going to win him those calls sometimes. So there's so many things to love about Ayo's game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was when you mentioned that, I started looking out for it, and I know he's just so crafty. He's just so shrewd. And once he knows he's got the official on his pocket, he's maybe unplayable.
Some honorable mentions too. Jaden Nelson, he had a great campaign. Ralph Priso, of course. Liam Fraser, if you could throw him in that mix. Even throw a Chara in that mix. Obviously, he didn't have the sample size to really warrant the award, but he's on the radar at least as a youngster coming up.
Schaffelgod.
Schaffelberg's in the mix. Again, Jaquil Marceruti would have to be involved a little bit, but I think we can all agree that Ayo Akinola was Toronto FC's youngster of the year.
Without question.
He finished fourth in the MLS's Young Player of the Year award, so he should be our Young Player of the Year. He also led MLS in goals per 90, and he also sat on the bench for TFC's first club.
Well, I like it. Next year, 4th annual, we have a Young Player of the Year award, and we got to figure out a clever name for it, which I
of course. The class of 2020.
Yeah. There you go. All right, let's do our final award here. Let's end it on a happy note. It's the Miracle in Montreal Award for best game.
Gotcha.
So we had a couple honorable mentions for this one. Obviously, this was always going to be a, everyone's got their different flavor when it comes to these games. We had Toronto FC's 3-1 win over Columbus. We already talked about the Pozuelo halftime, talked to Mavinga game.
Yep.
Their 1-0 win and their only game in front of fans at BMO Field.
Again, there were 2 games. There was that one game where 50 people were at the food building. That counts as fans, but I'll agree. This one had actual fans in actual seats. So
then their 3-0 win over Vancouver in August. But the winner for this one was the 4-3 win over the Montreal Impact at MLS's back. That was just a chaotic game. I mean, that was the most Montreal-Toronto game of this year, and usually if Montreal and Toronto have a great game, it's going to be the best game of the year for Toronto FC.
Yeah, it was a track meet, but it also had the advantage of being IO's coming out party. So it was pretty terrific. I mean, I voted the Montreal game, but it's pretty dead even. It's a dead heat with that Columbus comeback, because that was an exciting match, and I remember all the ink spilled afterwards talking about how TFC has this third gear that they can just, the third or fourth gear that they can find sort of whenever they feel like it, and just smush teams. So I did really enjoy that. That was really nice, especially because the trends this season has been two games basically, like a game played in 2 halves, right? And quite how often were we complaining about Greg Vanney's insane double center back swaps in the second half? So it was nice to have a turnaround in the second half as opposed to a capitulation in the second half.
Yeah, no, that come from behind one was very exciting. I think it was Benny who pointed out that 3-0 win over Vancouver in August when they returned to play at BMO Field without fans, except for the ones there at the outside the stadium. That was a clinic they put on that night, and that had people on the edge of their seats excited for Toronto FC. And it was just Vancouver, but it was some of the best soccer I think they played all year. So definitely a shout out to that 3-0 win.
Yeah, that was a good game. Quality goals.
Yeah, I wrote down the 1-0 win at the home opener at BMO Field, more so because it was sentimental. It was the last time everybody was back together, and I still vividly remember, that the place erupting when Achara got to the back post and he got a touch to that goal and it went in, and it was a long time coming. There was a lot of anticipation for that goal, and finally broke through, and I think it was like the 81st minute or something like that.
Yeah, it was late. Came late. Yeah.
TFC was the buzz around the city, and I had people who weren't soccer fans talking to me about TFC and Achara, and everyone knew the name Achara. I remember talking to TFC PR, and they were telling us that how we should say this guy's name, and how it was there was a lot happening that night. It was buzzing, and it's again sentimental because it was the last time we were all together there.
Feels like 100 years ago.
Yeah, it feels like 100 years ago, like you said. Yeah. So that was special for me. But obviously, I think we all went with the 4-3 win over Montreal to MLS.
Yeah, I think that's the winner. But it's a tight race, this one.
Yeah, that
was a tight race. Absolutely. There were a lot more really good games than I remember. At least 3 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should probably wrap things up there. This bow tie is cutting off my circulation pretty bad, so I am very excited to take it off.
Nice. I had to remove my blazer because I was melting back here. It got a little hot.
There you go. Yeah, I think we're all just about ready to wrap it up. But this being our final show of 2020, obviously. And go over to wakingthered.com and
get your
read
vote.
The full, read the full WGR Awards article.
They
but obviously
there, so you guys can see all the plays too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We don't need to rely on Jeff's dancing, which he never ended up doing. But thank you so much to Martin, Brady, Matthew, Asim, and Ben for stopping by for today's show. Thanks to Kevin and Sophia at Homestand for everything they've done today. Obviously, Jeff for the OT work he put in today on all these stings. Don't forget to run the outro video this week, Jeff.
I have to make sure that this Arsenal top isn't going to into my parents' house in Richmond Hill. I've never done something so completely insane. But
boys, we're 25th episode. Like we didn't plan this out, but 25th year in Major League Soccer too.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty fitting that we're wrapping
Synergy.
up, a year here.
Super synergy. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
This
25 episodes. I mean,
I can't. It's shocking that we've done 25 episodes, but
Mm-hmm.
also fantastic because we're so used to doing this now, and it's so much fun. I so look forward to our Tuesday chats together.
Yeah, Mitch shouted out Kevin, Sophia already, but like honestly, it's the viewers, you guys, man.
Yeah,
You guys
absolutely.
listening to this after watching this live along with us, you guys are the ones who make this so fun and why we're so
You really do.
excited every Tuesday to show up here and talk some TFC Canada soccer. And I promise you guys that this is just the beginning. And just like Canada soccer is on a wave, our content will follow. And we love doing this, and we're excited for the future, man.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
well
We hope this has been a nice little distraction every Tuesday and what's been, a bit of a crazy year. But on behalf of Jeff and Michael and myself, we look forward hopefully to better times in 2021. And most of all, when we can once again all gather at BMO Field, our home by the lakeshore.
Now I'm just checking my watch for sure. When we come back on Tuesday, it will be 2021. So that's good. I'm glad.
That would have been such a nice place to wrap up, Mitch.
Yeah, it's such a nice outro there.
All right, rewind. I'm so sorry. Jesus.
It's all good. You can send it on that point, guys.
Yeah, I think that perfectly wraps up our season.
All right. My work here is done.
Ciao.
Bye.
Oh wait, I gotta run the. Okay, here we go.